strict public school district lines are educational redlining. You may have heard the term redlining used to describe the federal government's effort in the 1930s to discourage banks from lending to black homeowners, literally drawing red lines around black neighborhoods. And that was devastating for black prosperity because it prevented households from climbing onto the first rung of the property ladder. And because between 50 and 70% of the net wealth of the middle class is tied up in home equity, it helped trap black families in poverty. Here's an old bank redlined map of Trenton, New Jersey, where majority black neighborhoods were defined as hazardous or definitely declining. This contributed to white flight as homeowners found it hard to find mortgages on good terms in redlined neighborhoods and so moved out to majority white suburbs like Ewing and Hamilton. The result of that process, over 90% of Trenton's population is non-white, equally split between black neighborhoods on the west side of Philly, the yellow dots, and Hispanic neighborhoods on the east, the green dots. So racist federal government lending standards pushed banks not to lend to black homeowners, helped propel white flight, and then locked minority families in areas with low property values. It had one more big downstream effect. Since we mostly fund public schools via local property taxes, it also locked minority families into drastically underfunded public schools in geographically segregated public school districts. Here's a map of all the elementary schools in the Trenton Public School District today. Top performing schools are green, low performing schools are red. They're all red. Trenton is the 590th ranked district in the state out of 590. Just 12 miles away within the same county is the Princeton Public School District, with some of the top performing schools in the entire state. It's also 85% white or Asian. Indeed, all of the strict racial dividing lines within Mercer County lie along public school district lines. For example, this cluster of blue dots showing Asian families cuts off sharply at the edge of the award-winning West Windsor School District. In the end, the old map of mortgage redlining matches the current map of racial distribution, which matches the current map of school rankings. If you are outraged the federal government drew arbitrary red lines on a piece of paper to create access barriers to mortgage lending based on race, then you should be equally outraged that state and local governments currently do that, but for education. Parents of all races should be allowed to send their kid to the school they choose and not be hemmed in by arbitrary lines drawn by a faceless bureaucrat.